said it before, and I'll say it again here today. Those who stand in the way of legislation that will address our country's gun violence epidemic are increasingly culpable for its needless continuation. And that's why I dubbed and gave the acronym GOP, Guns Over People, but I guess I should have used the acronym Good Old Puppets of the Gun Lobby and Gun Manufacturers. I urge a no vote on the rule and underlying bill and yield back the balance of my time.
Gentleman yields back his time. Gentleman from Georgia.
Mr. Speaker, I do appreciate the time we have today. I do appreciate my friend from Florida. We have many lively debates on the floor and many lively debates in Rules Committee. But, you know, if you really want to see things going in really a tone and tenor, Mr. Speaker, let's get back to saying there's ideas that we agree with and disagree with. And there are ideas of actually just taking a constitutional right and being able to apply that in a Concealed Carry Reciprocity Act, which is what we're talking about here, irregardless of who might find that appealing, what groups or non-groups. That's a constitutional right that we're fighting for. But, you know, in this regard of saying that puppets, well, let's, the moment that a group who enjoys killing babies says you need to make sure that right is available, then my friends across the aisle are quick to jump with their strings to say, yes, I want to do that. When they wanted to have government-controlled more health care, they also said, oh, but our insurance companies, we need to have a position for them in which they're taken care of. I guess that was another puppet string, Mr. Speaker. I think the bottom line is let's quit knowing that many of us on both sides, we have our positions, and we have people who like our positions on both sides, whether they be Democrat or Republican. But one of the reasons that the American people are very frustrated with this body is because the tone and tenor is not on policy, which we can disagree on. It is who controls the other. And if we wanted to lay out a laundry list of supporters of the Democratic Party and maybe supporters of the Republican Party and say that's all that matters, then fine, Mr. Speaker. If we've denigrated to that, then so be it, but shame on us. Whether you want reciprocity or not, good. Argue it. Whether you want to have another thing with our tax reform and you believe tax reform can be done in every way, argue it. But when we integrate out to who is puppets and who is not, then we're also racing to the bottom. We're racing to the bottom of a civil discourse that the American people are tired of. Look in the last election. So when I look at this today, Mr. Speaker, I look at a bill, and we've also heard interesting things that have been said, like officers will be in trouble and possibly can be sued. Look, if what language was put into the bill was Terry stops that they could ask and that they're protected from suit. What they're not protected from is unlawful arrest or unlawful time in these, then they will be held liable. Or maybe it's also been said that we're going to turn all these concealed carry permit owners like myself and my friend from Florida, we're going to turn them loose on the country. And terrible things are going to happen. May I remind us here on the floor that Florida, which has issued nearly 2 million permits, have only revoked 168 due to gun crimes committed by permit holders. That's 0.008%. The fact that concealed carry permit holders are generally more law-abiding than the general public. We can disagree, Mr. Speaker, and that's part of this body. We can come to different conclusions. That's the reason we have a debate floor. But when we start to try and bring in other things and who's controlled by who, then I just simply, Mr. Speaker, ask that the other side cut their strings first. With that, I yield back the balance of my time and move the previous question.